Is it cold in here?
It is cold in here.
Okay.
But I would turn on the heat, but by the time we're done filming,
Yeah, by the time we're
it
done,
won't matter.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Ready to go when you are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Parker.
And I'm Tim.
And
Are you serious? You didn't get that far?
Okay, hi, I'm Parker. I'm Tim. And for and today we're talking about King Herod for episode 5.
You want me to start it off and say, hey, my name's Tim, and then you say I'm Parker, and then you go on from there?
Say, hi, I'm Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm
You
Parker.
say Parker.
And for episode 5.
Yeah,
okay.
Today for episode 5. Okay. All right. Hey, my name is Tim.
And I'm Parker. And for episode 5 today, we're talking about rage. We're talking about rage.
It's going to take us forever to film this.
Okay, alright, okay. Hold on. Gosh darn it. Okay. Today, we're talking about King Herod for episode 5.
I tell you what. How about I say my name's Tim, you say I'm Parker, and I'll say the King Herod,
Okay.
and you say episode 5.
Okay.
Think you can handle that better?
Episode 5, so say it. Let's do it right now.
Okay. Hey, my name's Tim,
And I'm Parker.
and today we're talking about King Herod, and you say this is
And this is episode 5 of the Rage.
okay.
Podcast. Rage
All right.
Podcast.
Got it? Can you do that? All right, let's find out. Hey, my name's Tim,
And I'm Parker
and today we're going to talk about King Herod.
for episode 5 of the Rage Podcast. So today, talking about King Herod, he what is King Herod? I guess what land is he ruling in at, Tim?
Well, King Herod would have been a Roman representative
Okay.
ruling in Judea. He was over the entire area there. He was a foreign occupying power. At least that's what he represented.
Okay. So King Herod was visited first by the wise men.
Okay, yeah, well, the wise men following the star, looking for the king. Obviously, the first person they go talk to is the guy in charge, which would have been Herod.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have an exact scripture for this one here, but Matthew 2, we'll start in verse 3. King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, and this is the wise men coming and talking to him. As everyone in Jerusalem, he called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born? In Bethlehem in Judea," they said, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And O Bethlehem in the land of Judea are not less among the ruling cities of Judea. For a ruler will come from you who will be the shepherd for my people of Israel."
So the wise men came looking for this guy.
Yes. And the first words of that opening verse there was, King Herod was deeply disturbed. Because if we go back to Balaam's prophecy, Jesus was to be born, and it was supposed to be like a grown figure, crushing heads, revolutions going on. So he's terrified. He's ruling his land, and he realized, my power is going to be gone real quick.
Yeah, nobody was really expecting a baby. I mean, we today, we're so used to the Christmas story and Jesus and baby. We're so used to that. To us, it seems like second nature. That's not at all what anybody was looking for. So when the wise men came looking in, they weren't saying, hey, has anybody seen a baby around here? That's not what they were looking for.
So with King Herod being so scared pretty much of Jesus coming to earth, he set out a way to stop that. He set in a law, I guess. Was it a law? Could I say it was a law?
Yeah.
That every child under the age of 2, and now Tim, why was it set under the age of 2?
Well, what they must have done is some conversation with the wise men. He must have figured out that this child was born. So where the wise men were probably coming into town looking for a full-grown king, Herod said, look, if the guy's just born or born recently, I know it's all the boys 2-year-old and down.
Okay.
So in order to crush power, that's kind of the way the Romans did it. The Romans had almost no respect for any culture other than their own. So for them to wipe out a whole, commit genocide against a whole generation of Jews would have been no big deal for them, as awful as it was.
All right.
So speaking about how Romans kind of ruled and did things, I think we're going to go next level with Parker.
The estimated number is that King Herod would have killed at least about 14,000 young babies.
Well, thanks for that, Parker. And one of the things the Romans were noted for was just how ruthless they were and how evil and very very hard-nosed they were about dealing with other people.
Well, I think that's a great example because a great example of that is King Herod.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally taking out a whole generation of 2 years, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
in the entire land.
Yeah.
I would say also he's very hungry for power
Mm-hmm.
because that's a big thing. That's a big thing to do
Yeah.
for
I mean,
such a cause.
And think about it. He's murdering babies in order to preserve his power. I mean, that's what he's doing.
Yes, that's what he's doing.
So he's thinking long term, because obviously these 2-year-olds are not a threat to him yet, but he
Yeah.
knows they will be.
Yes.
So even the fact that their power may be questioned a generation later, he's already like, nope, I'm out on that. So that's
Yeah.
why he murdered these babies.
Yes. So King Herod was clearly a vicious, evil ruler that no
Yeah.
one could really enjoy, I would
Yeah.
assume, unless you're a Roman.
Right, unless
yeah.
you're Roman, and even
Yeah.
then it was questionable.
Yeah.
But clearly the wise men figured out what Herod was up to, because they never went back to see the guy. They talked to him.
Yeah.
They found out, Herod found out some information from them. The wise men went on and found Jesus and did their thing. This terrible proclamation comes down, and the wise men are like, well, we're done with him. And I think the scripture even tells us later in the story from what you read, they went home by a different route.
Yes. Yes.
So they even said, we don't want to cross paths with this guy again because he's clearly out of his mind.
So I think also that King Herod is the first great sign of how Christ's life would be carried out and the persecution he'd follow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is literally a man wanting to take out a baby,
Mm-hmm.
baby Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
because he knew how powerful one day he would be.
Yeah.
It's the first. I feel like it's the first big test. It's the first.
Yeah.
Big
It's the first big evidence of here's the kind of evil Jesus is up against in his day and age. Now, we could talk about the timeless nature of sin, obviously.
Yes,
We can talk about
yes,
that in a different
yeah.
podcast. But in that moment, I mean, that's a terrible evil. Somebody that would murder babies, that is a terrible evil to be up against.
So, if any of you have the question in your head right now, how did the plan go? Did King Herod get a hold of Jesus, or what happened there? Well, God's plan always comes into action when these situations bring up, and an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph and told him to flee to Egypt with the child and his mother, and told him to not return because King Herod was going to search for the child and kill him.
Yep.
So,
And the reason they went to Egypt is the Romans were not in control there, so they wouldn't have to be afraid of the Romans.
so how far, I guess, to get a little bit more of an understanding and to relate, how far is the trip?
Well, you have to remember, they're walking.
Yeah, they're walking.
So it's not like today where, just earlier today I drove over to Salina and I got, ran some errands. That would have been longer probably than most people would have traveled in a lifetime, and here I drove it there and back in, an hour.
Yeah.
So the idea of distance may not be all that far. So this journey would have been far enough to get them out of the Roman Empire. I mean, again, it was a significant traveling distance, but by modern things, it wasn't like they were running from here to the other side of the world. It wasn't that far, but it was far enough they could get there by foot.
Okay.
So, but that got him out of basically it got him from underneath Herod's jurisdiction.
So Herod's evil plan was useless. It was unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what that man has done is just an act of pure evil. With no purpose.
No purpose.
No purpose.
It didn't accomplish what he set out to do, and didn't do anything but be evil, because that's what it was.
Yeah. And that's what it says right here in Matthew 2, verse 16. Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men had outwitted him. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys around in Bethlehem.
Yep.
So he realized that,
Yeah.
I will never. He knew that this plan was just a horrible way of looking at the future of his power.
And I think he also realized how much he was not going to be able to stop this thing from happening.
Yeah.
So he went to basically the Hail Mary pass.
Yeah.
An act of extreme desperation, extreme brutality, extreme horror. He went with that option, and it still didn't work because it wasn't until a Roman a generation later, Pontius Pilate, finally is the one that gave him the execution order. So
it's truly crazy to think about how Herod was able to do that, and God had a plan to just bring it. Like, Christ's life was it's unimaginable to think all the things he's been through. I mean, we have most of it written down right here, but I mean, it starts out, I couldn't imagine, being like told that a whole generation of people were killed off because of me being born.
Right.
But that's
a tremendous load to carry. I mean, it helps you put your life into perspective to know that many people died to get you out of the way, and it's unfortunate that we don't know much about Jesus' time in Egypt, because I think Matthew goes on to say, and when Herod died, they came back. But that wasn't like they were there
Yeah.
5 days.
Yeah.
They were there a significant amount of time. So a lot of Jesus' formative years would have been as in exile, basically in Egypt.
So now so Christ didn't go ever back to Bethlehem, correct? At least once he left Egypt, he came to Nazareth.
Yeah, he went back to Nazareth
Okay.
and some of the, so I don't know if he was ever in Bethlehem, the town.
Yeah.
But he was around in much of the area.
Yeah,
Once
he was
came
around the area, but he was never, I guess
back. Yeah, we don't have any
settled
record
down.
that he went back to Bethlehem.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I never thought of that. You'd think he might want to go back to find the barn, or maybe he did. We just don't have record.
Yeah,
of it.
well, yeah,
That's
but-
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was because,
Yeah.
and he comes back pretty much ready to start ministry. Am I
Yeah.
right on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, next time we hear from him, he's meeting up with his cousin John the Baptist to be baptized, and they kind of go on from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Herod is an interesting character. Certainly the most evil person that Jesus encountered early on. Thankful to Mary and Joseph and Gabriel and the wise men who all kind of conspired together to make sure Jesus survived this early threat to his life. But it's we talk about how rough it was the first Christmas Eve or first Christmas Day when he spent that in the manger and
Yeah.
how rough that was. But you got to think it actually got worse from there.
It was it
Yeah.
was much worse from there.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just it all has a purpose, but in our eyes, it was truly
Yeah,
crazy life. I guess
Yeah,
is the
really.
best way I could say, and that's not even doing it justice.
yeah. So, you got anything else about Herod?
Don't be like Herod. I guess is a good way to say it.
That's good. If whatever you want to do requires murdering 2-year-olds,
Yeah.
there's definitely a problem.
There's a problem
Definitely a
there,
problem.
and it won't work out.
Yeah,
It
it's
won't
not going to
out.
work out. So,
So
yeah. So, love babies because they're worth loving and take care of.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Anything more?
Nope.
All right, everybody. Well, we're going to wish you all Merry Christmas. We're going to be back next week with our next podcast looking toward the new year. And hope you have a great week.
See you next week.